Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside F&B webinar with thought leaderships from the industry for the industry. Today with me are Tommy Giraux and William Connors. This is all about, of course, how to implement technology in your organization. I'm very happy with this webinar actually because it's very close to what we do as a business. And the way we are going to structure this webinar is by first introducing Apicbase to those who are not very much familiar with what we do. And then I'll give the word to our two guests, Tommy and William. And in the end, we will be having a Q&A session. So normally, if you are in the Zoom, you will be able to post any questions you have during the presentation, and we will be happy to come to answer them at the end of the presentation or the webinar. And if we don't have enough time, we will make sure to get back to you offline or online with the answer on the question later on. This webinar is also being recorded, so after the presentation, we will be sharing it with you on our website, apicbase.com. And of course, you can always get back to there to get it, review it. And we also have a lot of other webinars on there as well, so make sure to check out our website. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast or to the webinar. Tommy Giraux and William Connors. It's an honor to have you. Later on in this presentation, you'll have plenty of time to introduce yourself. But before that, let me quickly talk a little bit about Apicbase. So obviously, I'm going to keep this very short, but we, for those who don't know, we kind of solve a few key challenges at our customers, and they're actually largely, you can kind of split them into four different categories. The first one is obviously a lack of consistency in operations. The second one is the lack of margins or the difficulties of keeping your margins up. The third one is food safety and compliance. And the fourth one is the pressure of sustainability, which is something that comes both from customers as from regulations. So these are the things that we try to address. And for that, we've kind of built a platform. And that platform is actually, let's say, covering the entire back of house of an organization. Spreading from menu development, making sure that the recipes, ingredients, everything is in place, but going all the way to procurement, inventory management, central production, menu planning, you know, the whole back of house and basically conceptually creating new recipes to recreating and producing recipes on a high volume. That's what Apicbase does. And the result of this is actually that you get a lot of insights in what we call the black box between purchase and pay. And that's basically what Apicbase does. And for that, we've built great dashboards where these insights become clear from the get-go, but you can also work with our API to get those data into your own BI platforms. Now, the thing I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about is also that when we talk to prospects to kind of convince them that Apicbase is the great partner to be with, we've thought a lot about, you know, making sure that implementing a back of house system is a big success. Now, of course, a lot of the presentation and a lot of talks that we do is about that. When we talk to customers or prospects, we say, okay, it's very important to have a connected ecosystem with an F&B management platform, but also a personnel planning, front of house, accounting. All of these systems need to be connected with each other. Your Apicbase is not alone in the market. You need to have these integrations. And if you think about how you integrate, are you going to do this directly between the systems, or are you going to work with a data lake? Are you equipped in-house to, you know, manage these things? Do you have the right people in the business? are all of the stakeholders that you need, are they involved in this process? This is often a company-wide decision. You need IT in there, you need finance in there, quality assurance, your procurement manager, your chefs, everybody needs to work in here. Operations, very important. So a lot of people are involved in this kind of decision taking process. And it is a process you don't do alone. It's something that, of course, you're leading as a customer, but you need us as a partner there. But also even external consultants are required sometimes to get it going, because you might be short-staffed or you might need some expertise from outside. So all of these things are actually, working towards a successful implementation of any software, basically, and for sure a back of house. Now, the thing is that every time we say this, it sounds like a sales pitch, and it's like, you tell this because this is how you sell your product. Now, today in the webinar, we invited Tommy and William, and they are actually industry experts, and they done this. And Tommy is doing this at Honest Burgers. William is a consultant doing this at many different places. So we thought it's a lot interesting to just let them talk and let them explain how they did it in their organization, so that what we tell you, that you can actually verify that this is how it's actually done in the organizations. So for that, we first have Tommy Giraux, who is the tech consultant at Honest Burgers. Congratulations, Tommy, on the growth of the business. And maybe let's get going and introduce yourself, and just tell me when I have to skip the slides.
Sure. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tommy. I'm a 41 years old Frenchman, married, and I've got a 4.5 years old kid and another one on the way. I've grew up in France and studied in France, and I've been working in hospitality for almost 20 years now, mostly in the UK, where I moved in 2007. My background, I worked as a GM for Costa Coffee and Itsu, and I joined Honest Burgers about 12 years ago now. First joined as a GM, then quickly moved as an ops manager for 7 years. And then the last 5 years, I've been focusing on being the head of systems. So at Honest Burgers, I look after all things tech and systems. I source partner, I negotiate contracts, I set them up, I oversee the implementation and training, I keep the systems up to date, and also I work very closely with our tech partners on giving them feedback and giving them feature requests. I'm also the first line of support for the 39 locations that we have at Honest Burgers and 850 people we have in the company. And we are growing, so we'll soon be 51 locations and just over 1,000 people. And then over the last few years, I've also been working as a hospitality tech consultant, helping growing brands making the right choices or fixing the tech that they already have in place.
Welcome, Tommy.
Thanks. So let's talk about rolling out tech at scale. So rolling out tech is always like very exciting, a new system, new features, new dashboards. But here's the hard truth. Tech is actually the easy bit. The people side is where you either win or you either lose. Honest, every tough rollout we had in the past was never really about the software. It was either about a culture change, training not landing, or adoption from the people using the system. So let's start with the why. What problem are you actually trying to solve? Why do you need the tech? What's your goal in bringing the new tech into your business? Don't bring tech only because you have FOMO. Other people are using a specific system, or because it just looks very sleek and shiny or very new. You have to start first understanding what are your pain points and what are the goals. And this is an example of a slide in terms of what I've done in the past for EPOS, for example. So where were the pain points that we had with the current EPOS system, and what were the additional goals we wanted to get out of the new system? So start building your requirement lists and non-negotiables. And this is what you need to keep in front of you every single time you attend a demo. So you don't So you keep looking at your goal and you don't get lost into, sales pitch and shiny new features. And it's the best way to assess how each platform is actually fulfilling your goals. And here's an example of, for example, here's an example of another recurrent list that I've done recently for an engagement platform, and how each vendor basically are scoring against some non-negotiables that we have and requirements that we have. For this specific example, I think we had just over 100 requirements. Now, you don't have to have that many, but at least it gives you a good understanding of what is the best suited platform, and it's a black and white and easy to understand. Now,
Tommy, can I ask you a question about
sure.
this? If you do this kind of checklist, let's say vendor requirements lists, how many people are involved in filling this out and or at controlling this on your side?
Everyone. So to build that requirement list, I will go and speak to finance. I will go and speak to the people team. I will go and speak to the ops team. I will go and speak to the marketing team. And obviously, I will speak to myself for IT and tech when it comes to integrations. But yeah, everyone is involved, including sometimes GMs when it comes to general managers, when it comes to building that list in terms of understanding what do you need to get your job done easier or faster.
And how do you then come to the priorities of this list?
It's just a conversation.
If you have, let's say, 100 of conversations, everybody has a slightly different priority, or is this kind of crystallizing very easily?
It usually crystallizes quite easily. When you move away from a platform, there's probably things that you want to keep, features that you want to keep from the existing platform that you have, or some non-negotiables that are part of the goals that we talked about just earlier, or some pain points that you're trying to fix, so they become a must-have in case it's a feature you don't have in the existing platform. So it's usually pretty easy, and it's a conversation in terms of, is this a must-have, or could we work without if that was to come maybe 3 or 6 months later, if it was something on the roadmap, for example.
Yeah.
Great. The next thing is to think about long term, not short term. So will the system be the right one when you start doubling or tripling the size of your locations? And if you have on the call, business owners that have 1 or 2 locations, doubling or tripling the size of your estate, it becomes really, really quick. So understanding when you start having regions and areas, is that system right for your growth? And then when I look back at Honest Burgers, for example, when COVID kind of happened, we used to have an all-in-one that we were very frustrated with. And then we used COVID as an excuse to just cut the ties and rip it off. And this is where we stripped everything back and started rebuilding piece by piece with a clear plan, what became actually our tech stack, which I'll show you very briefly. And this is what strategy looks like. First, have clarity of what you want to do, and then go out and choose the tech. Which takes me to the 2 paths that you may have depending on where you are in your journey, either all-in-one or a tech stack. Now, I won't go in details into the next slide, but feel free to screenshot it. But in a nutshell, all-in-one is simple. It's one login, one bill, one vendor to manage, and it's easy for smaller businesses. But it tends to be a little bit generic, and sometimes you will quickly outgrow it as your need and goal changes as you grow, obviously. And you will start to get frustrated because sometimes it cannot flex in the way your business is growing. Now, the other option is tech stack. Now, tech stack is harder at first. You have more integrations to manage, more vendors, but you get a best in class of tools, and they usually have a lot more innovation, a better roadmap, and you have a lot more voice in terms of giving your opinion as where the innovation or the development should go. And also, you got less vendor lock-in. That means that if for whatever reason, once part of your tech stack is no longer fitted, you don't have to rip off everything. You just change that one system for another, and everything just keeps working, which is also easier on your staff in terms of change management. So we can go to the next slide. Now, one of the key things to think about if you're going down the road of a tech stack is how will the data flow? So what will be the single source of truth for your people data, sales, your menus, labor, payroll, even customer data or loyalty data? And how will that data flow between each of the systems? Because the last thing you want, having a tech stack, is to have to duplicate data throughout multiple systems or having different source of truth. And here's an example of the tech stack we have at Honest Burgers. But in a nutshell, this is just the people side of things and a little bit of the upside of things. But this is how the information, seamlessly flows between all the system. And I won't go into too much details. But when you recruit someone, it flows seamlessly into your HR system, which then flows into your scheduling system, payroll, trunk management, and then anything related to sales, for example, flows from your point of sale into your workforce management for forecasting, into your inventory system for ordering, and all these kind of things. So at Honest, we went with a tech stack. It's a lot more complex, but obviously it gives us a lot of control. Now, team alignment. So you wanted to say something, Carl? No.
No, I think I do have a question indeed. Would you consider, because you went, of course, for a tech stack, and have you actually also thought about a all-in-one system? I mean, was this kind of the first reaction you had, or was it clear from the beginning it's going to be a tech stack?
I think considering the pain we had moving away from an all-in-one, when that all-in-one started building frustrations on our side, no, it was clear we did not want to go into a vendor lock-in. Now,
Yeah.
there are exceptions out there. I'm not saying that all-in-ones are wrong, and actually all-in-one are actually right when you start. If you have one or two locations and you don't have aggressive growth plan, that works very well because it's just much easier. Everything is under one roof. You don't have to worry about integrations. Usually, when you start, you don't really have a head office team. It's just you as a founder slash owner slash ops slash HR person. So you can't spend time managing tech. So that works in this specific case. But if you have an edge case in terms of the way you want your system to behave, metrics potentially that are quite unique to your specific type of business, this is
Hmm.
where you have to go into specialized platform to try to get something that really fits your business and not trying to fit your business to the tech you already have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. One more follow-up question here. Now you've, of course, chosen for the tech stack. Do you consider it a strategic advantage of having a tech stack, or is this neutral?
No, I do see it as a strategic advantage because as we grow, we've already been replacing some parts of that tech stack over the last 3 to 4 years. Because what was right for us 4 years ago is no longer right for us nowadays. Things that we launch, the way the business has changed, or the focus of the business changing. Everything externally happening in terms of cost, labor costs, and things like that. That shift a little bit our focus into different areas, and we needed to either push the current partner to get up to speed with what we want, or go back on the market and find something else that is better suited.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Great. I won't stop you any longer. Next slide.
No, yeah, we can keep on that one, obviously. So team alignment. So once you know the direction, you need to bring the team in that direction. And as you talked about earlier, Carl, it's all about getting everyone involved, all departments. So talk to finance, talk to the people team, marketing, ops, but also speak to front of house and back of house staff, including managers, to get a full picture of what works, what doesn't work, and what needs to happen with the next system. Um, those people on the floor in the restaurant, they're not just end users. They become your project sponsors. They help to shape it, and they will own it when you launch it. And this is where leadership buying also matters. If you have the ops team on board and they love the product and they love the system, they will sing their praises and get everyone on board with it. If they are reluctant or they don't like it, you've already killed that project. It's never going to really land because no one will buy into it if the leaders that are leading, was it the restaurants or the sites are not in it. So if you leaders don't care, no one will. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They need to be sold and convinced that the solution is right.
Well, that kind of brings me. Normally, we do the Q&A at the end, but I find this a very good moment to pick up on a question that we got from the Q&A. Jordan Ford mentions, how do you deal with a GM-centric resistance to an existing tech solution? even when this option best suits everyone else?
There, so there will always be, a couple of GMs that will be reluctant, and that will be, oh well, I'm doing my schedule on my inventory on Excel. It works very well. Why would I change it? And I think that tells a lot about the culture that those GMs are potentially have in their restaurant, and within their team. So if you're not willing to embrace the change, and if you're not willing to understand the opportunities, because it's not like we get involved people in making the decision, and we know because we got them involved that is the right system. If you go 40 GMs that are in it and one that is not, obviously the anomaly is that one. So it's either you're going to have to follow and just deal with it and grow, and yes, change is uneasy, change is uncomfortable, but change is also how you grow and learn. And some people sometimes that just don't want to learn, don't want to grow, just are very comfortable and want to stay comfortable. So sometimes it's you just tell them you have to do it, but it's right because you have involved other colleagues and other people before you get to that point. And obviously, I put my ops hat back on now. Usually, this kind of people that are resisting to the change, when you know deep into your guts that change is right, those are people that don't excel in some other areas. There's not just tech. It's bigger than just change. It's other bits that gets involved in the way they treat the people, the culture, as we talk about it, their leadership in general. So that would be my answer.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's continue.
And finally, defining ownership is super important. So, who owns the data? Who looks after the data in the business? Who will look after the training? And who will look after the vendor relationship? If there's no ownership, nothing happens. Everyone thinks it's everyone else's problem. So there's no accountability.
And
Which
quickly question about that one. Sorry, Tommy, I find it
no,
too
no,
interesting
absolutely.
to let go. So basically, what you mentioned here is obviously internally you need to be ready to do this.
Ready for the change, yes, and you need to have a plan. Who's in charge of training? Is it going to be me as a head of systems, or will the people team be trained to a very high standard and help producing the materials and go to the locations? And we talk about training a little bit later in my presentation, but yeah, who will own that? Data, is it me or is it the head of IT that will own the data, or is it finance? So everyone has a job and everyone makes sure they happen. So when something goes wrong, we know who to go with, and people get they're accountable for it, so it is their responsibility and they have to deal with consequences if things are not happening.
All right. Next.
Thank you. So change management. We just talked about it, right? So change is always hard. Your staff or your GMs will ask always, why? Why the change? Why are you making my life harder? Why do I have to learn everything again? So you got to explain the why, how the system actually links with our goals and what are the benefits. Will it make the service faster and easier? Is it bringing a better guest experience? Is it bringing a lot less admin for the managers? At Honest Burgers, we always try to create champions. So people that are in a business from the very, very early stage of choosing that system, that love the tool and that will basically sell it to others. Um, and the most important part, and probably the biggest learning that I've had over the last few years, is always pilot first and pilot for as long as you possibly can. If you can be in a position where you don't have a hard stop for the tech to be fully rolled out, it makes everything a lot easier. Roll out the system first in one or two locations, try it, listen to the feedback, fix the issues, try it again, listen to the feedback, fix the issues until it's right. And only then, you can start to scale it to the rest of the company. And that is a crucial phase that I feel very often, sadly, business owners, including ourselves in the past, sometimes put against the wall, and you have a hard date where maybe the current partner that you're trying to replace will just cut you off and you have to be rolled out by that specific time, or things like Christmas and periods that you don't want to be running out new tech are just around the corner.
Yeah. I think this is also a matter of partnership with your technology partners and working together towards a common goal, I guess.
Absolutely. Which takes us to training, which is also critical. So, looking back, in my experience, training either makes or breaks the adoption. One session to train everyone is not enough. From the moment they leave that session, they've already forgotten pretty much everything that you went through. So we use a mix because everyone learns slightly differently. So it could be a mix of 30 seconds videos, just a refresher on specific things to do. So you don't have to go through an entire video. Small step-by-step guides. Usually I make them under 30 seconds read. So it's generally how to do one specific action. So you don't have to read an entire article. Small in-person groups, I feel works very well because people tend to have a bit more of a voice and they ask more questions. In some contexts, you have to do just one-to-one sessions for people that are struggling a bit more and need generally just a quiet environment without pressure from the others to ask questions and to ask again and again if something is not landing the first time. And then more recently, we've launched our AI bot through All Gravy, and I think you can go to the next slide. I've put a small video where you can go 24/7, and generally, as long as we fed the system with, oh no, it's a static thing, it doesn't move
Uh,
anymore.
can I
That's fine. That's fine. It's all right.
can I click on it? Ah, no,
Ah,
here
there
it
we
is.
go. And generally, you ask a question 24/7, and it will come up with a troubleshooting step or a reminder on how to do it, which is pretty cool. And I filter a little bit of the queries that come my way. So adapt the training to people in the room. Um, and training doesn't stop at launch. So the system involved and features get added. So it's important to retrain throughout the year or to do a check-in 3 months later just to make sure that people are using the platform to its full capabilities. But also, people they move. Some new people arrive, some people leave. So you have to refresh and retrain every now and then to make sure that the investment you've made and people are using the system to its full capabilities. Otherwise, you're missing on your obviously return on investment. Now, the next bit to think about is data and analytics. Now, what gets measured usually gets improved, right? So, but it's not just about tracking sales, track adoption, how many people actually use the system, track speed, is it actually making service faster? Is it actually making admin faster on a Monday, if that's your day, or stock taking faster, or ordering faster, or making your schedule faster? Track the impact on business and the team and listen to their feedback. Because sometimes team happiness is hard to quantify, but if a system is taking away a lot of frustration and make their life easier, well, it could potentially increase your retention, which decreases your staff cost and your recruitment cost and things like that. So it is sometimes hard to get a tangible figure, but it's there and it's important to look at it.
And
Now, with go on, go on.
are you, sorry, Tommy, just picking up here, are you getting these metrics already, or are you still setting them up? And if you got the metrics already, are there some things, I mean, you don't maybe need to highlight any pain points if you don't want to, but are there things where you say, okay, no, we can improve there indirectly because of the fact that we measure the right things?
So I get a lot of unsolicited feedback from everyone at the company because we have a comms tool that makes me available to everyone. So I get a lot of feedback from everyone, any any stages, regardless, and I listen to it. And we do a lot of staff surveys and things like that. And we do steering group sessions as well, where we have James in the room that can give feedback on all things, not just tech. And we have quarterly sessions also where people come into a room and they get to come and talk to me in person if they haven't seen me for a while into their location, which means that all the tech is working, which is great. So yeah, there's different levels, but it is hard to quantify, and sometimes it's just a matter of having conversation and keeping track of them. We can
Yeah,
move onto the next slide, which is a bit of an example of metrics. For Honest Burgers, we've launched earlier last year, just before Christmas, actually, our
correct.
QSR. Not as far as that was just me talking with my hands. We launched our QSR concept, smash and grab, which is what's very different for us because we didn't have table service. We're using kiosk, and it was all about speed and operation efficiency. And we wanted to have the metrics that back this up and help us to improve. So we build custom dashboards. So the one you see on the right, orange and gray, that is something our head of IT actually built using the API from our ecosystem, and that gives us, clear understanding of how we're performing throughout the day. So we measure, for example, the average time people getting their order from the moment they order on the kiosk until the moment it's given actually to them, and they see a live understanding. So they have a live understanding of what was the average time in the last hour, and if things are going a bit too slow, they can make changes in terms of how they allocate people in the kitchen or how they allocate people in the front of house, which obviously is much easier if you look at live data instead of looking at it at the end of the day or the next day. You can't make changes anymore. So this was super crucial for us. So they understand how they perform through the day, and they can make decisions on how to improve it. And then on the right hand side, it's a report we get every morning, and we break it down per station. So in terms of build time, export time, fulfillment, collection, packing time, we track all those things, and we track the time also throughout the day. So we can understand bottlenecks, and we can probably add more people at specific time of day or specific time of week to alleviate those reduction in terms of the speed of service. So all those things are super crucial, and this is where sometimes tech don't just enables, but actually gives you the insights to actually improve and make the operation easier and faster. We can go to the next one. So yeah, common pitfalls. Let's talk about what can go wrong. So number one, and we talk a bit about it at the beginning of this presentation, is starting to book in demos before actually defining your goals, your pain points, and your requirements. Now remember, you need a strategy. Don't just go and shop without actually having a strategy in mind. First, clarity, then tech. Then number two is around pricing transparency. And still to that day, it takes 1, 2, or 3 demos or calls to actually get to the pricing. And it's frustrating as an operator because first, you don't have a lot of time to go on all of those demos. But also, if you can't afford it, it's just a waste of time for everyone, for the people on the call trying to sell it to you, but also for yourself if it's not part of if it doesn't fit your budget. And then the number 3 is we just talked about is underestimating the training needs. Launch and leave never works. You have to keep feeding it and retrain and maintain.
I am
No,
so glad you say this, because this is exactly what we say to our prospects as well.
amazing. Winning habits. So how to avoid those traps. So always compare the vendors. Don't just settle for one vendor because someone has recommended it or your mate is using it in another company. Negotiate hard. Don't be shy to negotiate because everything, and you're going to hate me for that, Carl, but everything can be negotiated, right? So setup fees, implementation fees. If you buy any ports, for example, don't forget to negotiate card fees. You can make a lot of savings on card rates. Have break clause in the contract in case anything goes wrong. So you have an exit in case the vendor is not actually doing what they say they would. And when it comes to development timelines, if there's something on the roadmap that they have committed to do and that is a must-have for you, have it within the contract as well. So if it doesn't happen by a specific date that was you've agreed with the vendor, then you have a way to exit potentially, or this penalty for the vendor. No, it's not all about being all hard on the vendor. Once things have been implemented, it's all about building a relationship. So it's not just a transaction buying tech. You need a partner that will answer the phone when things go wrong. Especially if you have customers in front of you that cannot be served because something is going wrong. You need to be able to be on the phone with an account manager, for example, or supporting fairly quick. And roll out smart. So as we said earlier, pilot, measure, make the changes or iterate until it's right, and then you scale to the rest of the estate. Which takes me to my last slide, I believe, which is, here's the takeaway. So tech is easy. People aren't. And if you want to succeed, you need 3 things. So first, a vision and a strategy. You need your team to be aligned and a culture in a business to be aligned. And you need data to measure the impact of that new system that you've added. Remember, first requirements, then people, and then third, the tech, and that's how you roll out at scale. Thanks for
Thank
listening to me.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Very, very insightful and very, very interesting. I'm going to give the word now on to our next guest, William Connors, who is a tech management consultant. William, welcome also to the show. You haven't said a lot, but now the floor is yours. Please have a short introduction of yourself, and then let's jump right into your presentation.
Sure. Thank you very much, Carl. I'm Canadian by birth. I've lived all over the world. I actually, like Tommy, came through an operations background, mostly in hotels, becoming a food and beverage manager for Radisson, and then technology pulled me into the industry where everything kept crashing, and projects brought me over to the UK 20 years ago. And so from 20 years ago, I've worked with some fantastic brands like Wingstop, Popeyes, Burger King, Oaxaca, which is a UK brand, and also to the Noble Group, which is a collection of brands, Chatamate, Steak and Company, and Alley Cat's Pizza, for example, amongst a few others. But thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. I go to the next slide.
Yeah. So I just the Noble Group was kind of a good example of how updating your technology can make a difference. And actually, people look at technology as an expense. It's not an expense because at the Noble Group they had very old, outdated systems, and we upgraded everything, and still made a profit overall. So yeah, a quick breakdown of who the Noble Group is: Angus Steakhouse, Steak and Company, Ochre, Chatamate, Alley Cat's Mural's Kitchen, and they have a huge casino in Blackpool. Yeah, just for Chatamate, they do have locations in the States. They're opening one in Manchester very shortly, the USA, Canada, and Qatar. But like many businesses out there today, they were focusing on service and product, but they never really did a proper IT tech stack review until I arrived. So, what was the environment when I arrived? It was that there was constant failures. The EPOS would go down. There was no communication between the systems. There was an environment of troubleshooting and firefighting. So, every day it'd be like, what problem is going to come today? And so, because of that, they're not actually focusing on getting better. And there was a lot of time spent reconciling reports from different systems. You'd have 5 different reports: one for stock, one for point of sale, one for credit cards. So the people from the top of the business to below spent a lot of time just trying to get a handle of what the actual data was, which is accurate. So what did we do? The first thing that we did, like what Tommy said, create a map of all the systems and see what are the gaps and the blockers. So if you're not getting accurate data, what do? Do you look at, you want to work towards one source of truth, and then basically if you can't find the source of truth, why can't you? So I worked with all the different departments and also the levels of people in the department. Speak to servers, speak to managers, speak to finance directors, speak to your CEO, speak to all these different people and get a good idea of where your business is at, and also what problems do they face and how can you do things better. So then what it is when you're speaking to potential IT partners, one of the funny things that comes out is when you saw what Tommy showed, you have your list of priorities, but also too, there's all these other things that suppliers have that you're like, oh, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that that was a feature. And then how could those features work within our goals? So there's a lot of communication back and forth. One of the things that has popped up very recently is AI. So then you're like, okay, how can we incorporate AI into your business? And so you speak with the different partners and products that are on offer, and you go back and forth and say, is this a critical or is this a nice to have? And a lot of people are like, wow, okay, because that's it. For HR, for example, AI, like a lot of people think AI is a chatbot, and it's not wrong. There are chatbots, but the thing is with HR, you can have AI incorporated into your training, into your relationships. So once you're training your staff, you can have the AI come back and say, Carl, how did you feel about the training? Do you feel well supported? Tommy, what's your state of mind today? Are you happy? Are you working well with the team? And instead of having a huge team that does this one-on-one, you have an AI tool that actually does a better job and that you can interact with your staff and pull back better insights than what humans could necessarily do. And you can look at that in different ways. Like AI, we're incorporating now menus that automatically translate according to the language spoken. Drive through, you speak to it, it'll speak back in your native language. Same thing if you're doing telephone calls, uh, people only have one mouth and one connection, but if you're using an AI chatbot for voice, all of a sudden you can speak to 500 people at the same time. So that is delivering savings where a human can't. But then you have, of course, reporting, the difficulty of reports is before, you had 100 different reports. What you can do is you can do like a chat GBT version and say, how can I improve my business? And it'll pick from stock. It'll pick from your energy usage. It'll pick from all these things and say, these are areas that you can focus on. And the same thing, you can use AI in terms of content creation, in terms of menu design, adaptation. The CCTV is a fantastic tool that you can link with your AI. Do you want to see how many people are walking in front of your restaurant? A camera can all of a sudden pick out exactly how many people are walking in front. You can also use it for the kitchen screens, so you can fill in the data. When with some groups that I've worked with in the past, you can actually see how many people queued up for food and then left. So does that show up in reports? Not really. You can also do like a picture of what is a perfect kitchen, and then all of a sudden, when people leave the doors open, it'll track electricity usage or power drainage, but also too, if somebody leaves the kitchen in a mess, you can actually come back and say, here's the data, what can we do to make it better? So yeah, all these different things. And also too, for things like rewards, there was some electronic voucher companies that we were talking to, and they said, we can do an auto renewing reward for each staff person so they can order staff meals, and you get an automatic spend, which and then if you want to give them more, you can be like, okay, Carl, you've done an extra good job today. I'm going to give you as a reward a gift certificate so you can take your whole family, So
Fantastic.
these are things so you're focusing on what does your company need? Why do you need it? But also to how do all these different products link together to make your business better as a whole?
Can I ask you something about the mind
Yes.
maps we're seeing? So these are mind maps made by, let's say, group of people. Is this how I
Yes.
should understand this? So these are different types of people in your organization mapping out different priorities, some, crossing over, others being specific to that group of people. Is that
Well,
how I should read it?
yes. What it is one of this is just an example where you go to the different solutions. You say, okay, there's all these features that we feel is critical, but then you get more information back saying, but they also do this, and then So it's a lot of conversations, and when you're having conversations with the different departments, there's also a lot of buy-in, and you can inform them and say, this is a feature. Would this be of interest? And say, how about if we try using this? And you ask questions like another cell that you see within here is like the mobile access. You want to be able to have your managers stay on the floor and deal with customers, deal with managers, and not lock themselves in their room. So, kind of touching on Tommy's example, which was fantastic with pulling up information. If you have like a mobile accessibility, it means that your managers can be out and about doing things instead of having to close the office door, log in, and stay on their computer all day. And once you have settled on the type of products you want, then you also need to figure out how everything, all the different channels combine to be a manageable solution. So this is actually an example provided by Apicbase because you're very plugged into customer needs. But you can all of a sudden pull into your data warehouse, not just point of sale, but reservation data, stock data, credit card data, and also to guest data and stuff like their feedback, their where they've been, what their favorite food is, and all that. So yeah, as a rule, you should always be dealing with partners that are willing to integrate and share their solution as much as possible. So yeah, what did we do at the Noble Group? The first thing that we did was we fixed the infrastructure. So when you go in there, you kind of realize that the cabling is 10 years old. So no matter what system you have, if you have poor internet connectivity, if you have rotten cabling and stuff, you need to put that in because no system in the world is going to work if it doesn't communicate back and forth. One of the key things that we do is, Tommy showed in his, you can break everything down. You have your features, like a must-have, critical, and then nice to have, and like that. But then you can also break it down into CapEx, which is upfront cost, and then OpEx, operating cost, operating expenses. Because you can create a 5-year plan or and kind of amortize everything across year to year because you think it's expensive now, but there's often a hidden savings in the background, both in terms of credit cards, in terms of efficiency, and table turns often too, because everything is working much better. One of the things that we did as well is when we're creating a circular flow of data, stock, labor, CCTV, feedback, CRM, it also opens up a new sales channel. So all of a sudden it's like, can we do better delivery? Yes. Can we do click and collect? Yes. And when you're fixing all these things, especially at the Noble Group, we noticed that there was a distinct shift in the company from kind of just saying we're not quite sure what's going on, what the problems are. So you're overstaffing in anticipation of problems. All of a sudden now they're looking at each thing saying, how can we do better in this? How can we do better in this? What is our goals for the future? What can we work on? So, another thing that a lot of businesses still do to this day is they say, let's get discounts. Let's have a discount for the nurses, a discount for students. And the thing is maybe those discounts are helping, but they could also be cannibalizing your profit. So these are things that you can do where an electronic voucher, you can track who has used it. And then, if they don't get a discount, but they still come anyway, So yeah, that's it. Next slide. So what was the results from the Noble Group? So when we replaced the broadband with lease lines, overall we had much, much better connectivity, and we actually saved 10,000 across the estate, which is not a lot. But the thing is the connectivity was fantastic. But we made 100 or 260,000 reduction in credit card fees. Just to give you a note, based on 52 million in sales. Like if you never have looked at your credit card costs, some companies will just say, well, it's up 3%, it's up 3%. You should always be reviewing these types of rates because your supplier is not going to lower their rates by themselves. You have to show them that you're actually looking and willing to make changes. With the connected data streams, yeah, there was a move from reconciling to making better decisions. And with this circular flow of data, what it is you're focusing on ways to get repeat business. So the customer comes in, they have a great time, and then when they leave, they say, okay, how can we make positive interactions to start getting repeat business? And then operational efficiency. We put in handhelds where you can take both orders and payment. So all of a sudden there was no queuing at the tills. There's like a typical server walks about 2 miles per shift, back and forth, back and forth. So when we put in the handheld order and payment devices, there's less moving around, there's less waiting. And so all of a sudden the manager said, let's instead of assigning one server to 6 tables, let's assign one server to 8 tables. And so the servers actually were very happy because they got more tips and service charges. So the business overall was able to reduce their cost by about 10%.
And that's already quite a bit, huh?
Yes,
Just
yeah,
by
yeah.
optimizing.
Yeah, that's it. And the increased automation, on the management side as well, a manager would spend about 2 hours every night running a report for the credit cards, running a report for the till, finding out a 20-pound difference, and it's like, okay, where is that? But once you have one point of truth, all the time wasted on reconciling reports could be focused on doing better service and working in other areas. So yeah, this is actually a fairly good compliment to what Tommy said before. You need to take a holistic view of your business. You have different silos. Like sometimes you have marketing off doing marketing stuff, accounts doing accounting. And the thing is you need to have everyone work together to work on the overall business as a whole and not just leave everyone to say that's not my department. Yeah, as said before, you need to have products that will integrate and allowing your business to adapt quickly. As Tommy alluded to, the one stack versus best of breed, I would go best of breed all the time because you don't know how your business is going to change. What happened when COVID, while I was working with Oaxaca, was we said, okay, we need to change our business model very quickly. And our suppliers were kind of like saying, we're not experts in order at table and delivery and stuff. And it's like, you're basically relying on your IT provider to provide solutions. And if they just say, look, we've laid off all of our team because it's COVID, you're going to have to adapt other ways. You want to be able to drop and add things to help your business in a timely manner. So you're moving the responsibility from leaning on your IT partner to yourself finding better products.
Right.
And then yeah, in terms of what we learned, If you have all departments being well informed and supportive, and you share with them the overall view of what you're trying to do, what challenges you're facing, why is it being done, that helps. Like when you're doing a change, prioritize what would have the biggest impact, and also to time it at such a way that you don't get tech fatigue. Like you want to make sure that your teams and managers are like enthusiastic and ready for the change. Like if you have too many things in a row, they can find it quite a burden, and won't accept or appreciate what's being done. For goals, you need to make sure that everything is clearly laid out, both with the supplier, like timelines, needs, and your teams. So, like saying, we need to put this in place. So we need to make sure that your teams are properly trained and supported. We need to have manpower to accommodate the change. And then, yeah, excellent planning and foresight smooth the path to accepting change. So, like when you introduce change, lots of different problems can pop up. So you need to really be careful and have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. Have like a doomsday plan in case everything goes wrong. So it doesn't change the perception of the teams and stuff. You don't want them to say, IT is meddling. You want to have always plan for the worst, and then you'll always have all your tick boxes checked. Yeah. So yeah, if you ever want to get hold of me, just send me an email or follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, thanks for your time, and whatever questions you have, let me know.
All right, thank you very much, Will. That's right in time. I realize that we are on the hour, but I'll keep going for a little bit because we do have a few questions that came in, and I want to take the time to answer them or let you answer them. But before we go in that, maybe I make a little bit shameless advertisement for the Apex 25 event we are organizing on the 27th of November. It's a day full of talks and panel discussions, and obviously also a State of the Union of Apicbase. If you want to join this, feel free to scan the code or go to our website, apicbase.com, and register. There's some early bird tickets at the moment. Let's go back into the Q&A. First question we got is from Norway. In a business that has proven record of growth and profitability, how do you get chiefs or canteen personnel to adapt to rapid changes such as AI? Is there any success histories of a site that has embraced new technology, and were they initially resistant to it? Maybe Tommy, do you have anything to say on this?
Yeah. So when it comes to AI, used for either reporting or inventory or scheduling, yeah, finance are one of the very key stakeholders. So I think they understand I'm lucky to have a team that understands how AI can make things easier and faster and cut off some admin time. And we've already brought in quite a few systems that are leveraging AI, and we're on a journey with them to get to a point where we cut off maybe 70% of the admin that our managers are going through on a weekly basis, and also make it much easier to get reports and data to the finance team. So they are literally in all the calls. We have a lot of AI focused calls with different partners that we're working with, and also with external partners, because I'm always looking at what else is out there and if there's anything that could make our life a little bit easier and connect with all the systems, and answer and do cross-referencing data from different vendors and give us even more insights than what we already have. But yeah, they are part of the conversation and they're not reluctant. So I don't have that problem, luckily. luckily, but they are on all the calls and they're involved in all the conversations we had. Yeah.
Right. So it's again, it's about culture. It's about having the right people in the right place. All right, William, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, one of the things that I'd probably just add is it's all about trust. Like a lot of people are very suspicious of AI. So what it is when you're using AI to provide an answer, it's always good for the system to kind of back up its logic, you know. So when it says, you know, you should, for example, like raise your prices or evaluate the performance of a business and stuff. It's like, okay, why do you think that? Like, why does the system believe that the answer that they give is correct? And then they can break it down. And then when people look at the reasoning behind it, then they kind of go, yeah, you know, this is actually sound. And everybody appreciates when it's saving people time. So that's why a lot of people are buying into it, is because a lot of the time the AI is right. Now, the few times that the AI is wrong, at least you can kind of go through the reasoning and say, okay, I don't agree with that. So it might not be perfect, but it's a nice tool that actually does save most people time.
Mm-hmm. All right. Another question that we have is for Tommy from Belgium. During a pilot, are you just evaluating the tech, or are you also evaluating the internal workflows in relation to the tech? So are you changing your processes, or does the tech need to fit 100% the process you already have?
Ideally, the goal is for the tech to fit the processes we already have in place. But sometimes, by rolling out the tech, it highlights that some of the processes we have in place might not be suited anymore. So, then we go back to revisiting them and changing them. One example I can use is a pilot that we are currently going through with the workforce management system, where we break the pilot into different phases. Phase one being, because it's a very, very young platform on the market. Phase one is, are the integrations working, and are the GMs able to, produce their schedules, book holidays, get covers? Are the time sheets coming out of it accurate going into payroll? Kind of, is it actually working as a very, very basic level? Phase two of that pilot is now, okay, we're going to start looking into AI forecasting and accuracy and feedback on that, and trying to get it right. And then going into labor modeling and trying to understand, okay, is the AI scheduling produced by that system actually make sense? Do we have to go back and make tweaks to the algorithm that is behind it, or weights things heavier or lower onto the algorithm scale? So that depends. But one of the things we've highlighted during that pilot, for example, going back to the question that was asked, is that we've understood that there were some bad habits in regards to breaks, for example, where people were still applying the break policy we had 2 years ago. That has been changed since, and we're not applying the current one that we have, which is obviously a problem because we have a break policy and we want people to follow it to the T. So there was definitely a bit of a learning curve in terms of retraining and refreshing the memory of our GMs in terms of what good looks like and what is the honest burgers policy in terms of some specific things like break.
Thank you very much. We have two more questions that I would like to throw in front of you. Maybe first one for William and then the last one for Tommy. Or you can both jump in if you want. The first one is, in terms of a pilot and hard stop deadlines when implementing new systems, how do you define when to call it quits? An example, how do you measure its value add even at the early stages where change resistance and uptake are factors?
I've had some really tough experiences working with tech that doesn't quite work. And the thing is if you're in a situation where you're dealing with tech that doesn't quite work or is not properly tested, and then you're already committed to a huge rollout and stuff, it can be extremely painful, not only for your teams, but the support services as well. So, I mean, I think what it is You put it in and just stress test, like like what happens if this, like so. What we did was we put in at Popeyes kiosks that looked beautiful, but the thing is we had a problem where if something was pulled out of stock of the till, it didn't update on the kiosk. So like the thing is as Tommy said, have give yourself a good few months of testing, because the errors will often come immediately visible. But the thing is there can be situations where something really critical happens a few weeks down the line, like for example, in a kiosk, the payment device fails. Well, then the kiosk becomes completely useless. But like it doesn't usually happen on the first day, but it could happen like as it happened with Popeyes 2 or 3 weeks later. And so you really, really need to take the time to test all things that you can imagine, and also give time for things that you didn't consider but pop up anyway.
All right, thank you very much. A last question, Tommy. How long do you find it takes to define the needs or wants and get the responses back from the key people? I often find this the longest or hardest part. In example, extracting information from those who don't want, who don't know what they want, basically. How do you deal with that?
One-to-ones is usually the best way. So if you have a head office and just sitting down with the people involved, or getting them onto a Teams call and have a conversation in terms of and guiding the conversation, because sometimes they don't really know where to start. So let's start with what we have right now. What actually works? What do we want to keep in terms of features, or in terms of processes, and understanding, okay, what would you want ideally in a perfect world from the next system, and just try to guide the conversation. But yeah, obviously chasing people is a big part of my job in general, because everyone is busy. Yeah, I understand your frustration, but it's important to get everyone's point of view, because the last thing you want is to start going on the market, starting to review vendors, and then one of the key stakeholders that will be the part of the sign-off process at the end was like, oh, well, actually, I wanted this and this and this. This is not, and then it's just a waste of everyone's time. So it's important to make them understand why it's important, and how much potential money, time, and hustle you could save by just having a clear vision, and sit down for half an hour and just put some thought into it.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave it here. I wrote down a lot of key learnings. One of them is get your together before you start buying tech. The second one I learned is going for a best of breed gives you a strategic advantage, because you can change the software when you grow. So when your needs change, you can change the software. Another thing is I wrote down, and I found that very interesting. You can go up to tailor-made training almost. Start broad with AI and with large trainings, but then for those who can't follow, just it will be one-to-ones. And the final takeaway I wrote down is track the adoption and learn as you go, and take your time to set the systems right before you do a full rollout. So I thank you very much, gentlemen, for this very interesting webinar. I see in the terms of attendees that nobody is dropping off, even we are past the hour. So thank you very much to the audience for staying with us. Thank you very much, Tommy. Thank you very much, William, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.